Hi, my name's Tony Barnes, and what I'm going to talk to you about for a few minutes is organizational culture and the importance of influencing organizational culture. I think it's one of the biggest issues for leaders today, especially in some of the environments that I have worked in and various law enforcement agencies and government agencies, especially agencies that have a union influence and things of that nature, is that leaders can be effective, leaders can be smart, leaders can be charismatic, but they have to address the culture. Oftentimes, in order for an organization to reach their full potential and enjoy success and be absolutely proficient, they need the organizational culture to improve. They need a culture of success. So, I'm going to give you a definition real quick. Organizational culture is a set of shared mental assumptions that guide interpretation and action in organizations by defining appropriate behavior for various situations. So, organizational culture defines what behavior is acceptable and appropriate within an organization, whether good or bad. Another definition is the behavior of people who are part of an organization and how they view their actions. So, in organizations, it could be actions that are negative, that break standard operating procedures, that break guidelines, general orders, or it could be actions that are great, that contribute to the organization, that help them achieve organizational goals. But either way, the organizational culture is going to drive how people view those actions. This includes cultural norms and the standards that employees hold themselves to. Organizational culture drives standards. You can have written standards, but then you can have a negative organizational culture which reinforces to employees that it's okay not to meet those standards, which is obviously not good. Um, so what happens is behavior becomes a norm at some point if leaders do not address that behavior and correct it. So whenever employees do we'll say whenever employees do take part in negative behavior, negative, or they take negative actions, leaders do one of two things. They either reinforce that behavior by not addressing it and not fixing the situation, or they do the right thing and they correct the actions that are not appropriate and that don't support the mission of the organization. Culture constantly develops and is sometimes created unintentionally. That's one thing that we need to realize, is that organizational culture is constantly being developed. Um, so the big question is who can change organizational culture and how? Well, who can change organizational culture? Simple. It's leaders. And I have a quote here. It says, leaders are the stewards of organizational culture and are the driving force behind change. If you want to change the culture of an organization, it takes leaders leading and stepping up, and not necessarily just with negative reinforcement and discipline, but stepping up and motivating employees and helping them reach their full potential. The leaders with the most influence can make the biggest impact, and that's a big thing. Is that it's not always the leader with the highest position that can influence the culture the most. For instance, a first line supervisor can be what John Maxwell would refer to as a 360-degree leader. They can affect the subordinates underneath them. They can affect their fellow supervisors. They can affect the leaders above them. And motivation is contagious. I believe motivation is contagious. Um, so really, a leader can have a high rank, but they don't have the respect. They don't have the respect from the ranks. So they're going to be less effective at addressing organizational culture or positively influencing organizational culture. Every leader influences organizational culture every day, whether positively or negatively. We don't have a choice in that matter. Through our daily activities, the way that we interact with employees, the way we carry ourselves, the standards we hold ourselves to, we're either positively or negatively affecting organizational culture. So, success or failure is dependent upon healthy organizational culture. So it's very important for leaders to get together and to determine, okay, what can we do to positively affect the culture in our organization? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.